With us this morning on your Memorial Day, a holiday that we don't really celebrate, Kayla. It's where we remember all those that paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country, and we have a day off to really remember that. So this being also a military city, very solemn holiday for those in and around Cheyenne. But thank you very much for waking up with us this morning.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because yesterday we had a lot of weather chaos. A lot of people are probably assessing the damage left behind.
Yeah, we saw lots of large hail, Saddle Ridge just east of Cheyenne. We saw lemon tennis ball sized hail, lots of damage there. Up near Slater, Wyoming, 4 inches of hail fell due to a stationary severe thunderstorm. And unfortunately, Kayla, tracking some more wild weather today. Let's jump into our weather headlines as we start off here on Memorial Day. More strong and potentially severe thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening hours across the eastern third of the state. Tracking wet weather on your Tuesday, not going anywhere. And then later this week, we're tracking more storm chances across Wyoming. This is one hail photo that we got from Kim yesterday. Very large hail. Looks about to be about tennis ball size, and that can do some serious damage, not just to your windshield, but to your head if you're outside in those type of conditions. Storm tracker right now, we're seeing some heavy rain to the north of Riverton currently, but overall dry Casper down through Cheyenne. But trust me, that's going to be changing later today. Current temperatures around the state, 38 in Laramie actually is the cold spot. Torrington checking in at 53 is our warm spot this morning. Good news, always nice to say, this winds aren't a huge factor outside of Riverton and Thermopolis. And coming up in your full forecast, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what you can expect from some more wild weather today.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, Cheyenne's population has grown by 370 new residents. However, that's not the case for many other Wyoming cities. Casper, Worland, Rock Springs, and more saw a decrease in populations last year, with Casper seeing the biggest drop in sheer numbers, losing 351 people. Thermopolis lost 3% of its residents. Wyoming has the smallest population in the U.S., and it began to shrink after the 2015 energy bust brought downturns in the coal, oil, and natural gas sectors. A World War II veteran got a chance to ride in a B-17 bomber one more time. Kenneth Porter is 93 years old and flew the B-17 bomber in 1944 and 1945. Porter says he is happy to fly again, this time as a passenger at Broomfield Airport in Colorado. For Porter, it's a Memorial Day remembrance for those he served with.
Very many of us World War II guys left, and I happen to be one of the lucky ones to reach this age. Anytime you can ride in one of these ladies, why, it's just a tremendous experience.
A 42-year-old man has lost his hunting privileges for 2 years after using a rifle to kill a buck mule deer during the state's archery-only season. Wyoming Game and Fish says Eric Sorensen must also pay $4,000 in restitution and a $615 fine for the September 16 violation. A North Gillette game warden began investigating after hunters reported hearing gunshots on private land. The statement says Sorensen initially denied taking the deer with a firearm, but later admitted that he shot it from the roadway and dumped the meat. The deer's head and cape were confiscated. And Wyoming Army National Guard soldiers will deploy this week for a peacekeeping mission in Kosovo. National Guard officials say this is the first time the Wyoming Infantry Unit is deploying since organizing in 2016. A ceremony will take place Tuesday afternoon at Star Valley High School in Afton, with Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon speaking. The unit's first stop will be at Fort Bliss in Texas for additional training. The soldiers come from Colorado, Montana, Utah, and Wyoming. A Wyoming wild horse sanctuary is holding a horse auction in June. The Bureau of Land Management says the adoption will be June 7th and 8th at Deerwood Ranch west of Laramie. About 350 wild horses live at Deerwood Ranch. It's a public pasture for excess wild horses removed from overpopulated herds. The adoption will include horses trained by the Mantle family in Wheatland and up to a dozen untrained yearlings from Rock Springs Wild Horse Holding Facility. Wild horses will be adopted on a first-come, first-served basis for a $25 fee. Pamela Torres is on her way to Rawlins this morning by foot. She is set to run 161 miles for the Valor Run. The run honors 161 women who died in combat following 9/11. Our reporter, Kurjan Bianca, has the story.
We just met Pamela Torres, the sweetest young woman, and she is set to do the run of her life. It's 161 miles, all the way from Cheyenne, Wyoming to Rawlins, to honor the women who have died in combat since 9/11.
I'm doing it for their families, and I don't know if these families know what's going on, but hopefully they find out some way and know that their daughters and their mothers and their sisters are still being remembered. They're still helping people, even though they're not physically here with us.
Pamela is a U.S. Marine, and she'll carry the photos of the 161 women who have died in combat to help motivate her along the way. She has a personal connection to several of the women, and for Pamela, she plans to push herself to help shine light on the sacrifice these women have made in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I want to see what my body can honestly do when nobody's around and stuff is getting tough, and you know, these ladies are kind of with me in the back of my mind. So valor is just putting yourself out there and giving the most that you absolutely can.
In the words of Pamela, these ladies might be gone, but one step at a time, and they will never be forgotten. She gives each fallen sister a mile, and all proceeds will go to the Valor Run organization and Honor and Remember. When asked how she's feeling, she says anxious, but she is very grateful for everyone's support.
Honestly, I'm very anxious. I'm dealing with some injuries, so training has been a little sidelined for the last couple of weeks, but being home, being with my family, and just the outpouring of support, I'm hoping that what I'm kind of lacking in a little bit of strength, then I can make up for in motivation.
For Wyoming News Now, I'm Kirjan Bianca.
Her 10-day journey began yesterday. And University of Wyoming trustees plan to ask the state for nearly $50 million to renovate the swimming pool and part of the football stadium. The university expects renovating War Memorial Stadium's west side stands and rebuilding the Corbett Pool will cost a little over $74 million. The university athletic director says rebuilding the pool is vital for maintaining the swimming and diving programs. The state's deadline for the university to submit construction project request was May 1st, but the university received a 30-day extension. And a memorial service for former University of Wyoming head wrestling coach Steven Suter will be held tomorrow, the 28th, at 2 in the afternoon in the Unawyo Sports Complex. At the time of his death, Suter was an academic advising professional for UW's Advising Career and Exploratory Studies. Following the memorial service, a reception is scheduled at Snowy Range Evangelical Free Church off 15th Street. The city of Casper, in coordination with the Platte River Revival, is looking for volunteers for a weed bounty project. Volunteer groups will earn 50 cents per pound for the collection and removal of Scotch thistle, common mullein, and Russian olive seedlings in specific areas along the North Platte River. Natrona County Weed and Pest has set aside $20,000 to pay for this and other weed bounty projects. The link to sign up for the project will be on WyomingNewsNow.tv later today, and the deadline to sign up is this Wednesday, the 29th. 5 organizations known for helping military veterans have come together to sponsor a veterans golf tournament at Kendrick Golf Course in Sheridan, June 15th. Registration for the event ends June 7th. The tournament is open to all veterans. There is an entry fee of $60, which gets participants 18 holes of golf, a light lunch, and use of a golf cart. The driving range will also be available at no cost to tournament participants. Among those playing will be a number of hospitalized veterans from the Sheridan VA, as well as selected military members and their families who will be deployed this summer. And if you're looking for a way to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice today, there will be a wreath-laying ceremony at Beth El Cemetery. It will take place from noon to 1 this afternoon. The ceremony is located north of Pershing Boulevard and south of the airport in Cheyenne. Cracks are forming on the World War II memorial in Washington, D.C. A 20-foot hairline fracture is visible on a major pillar on the Atlantic side of the memorial. Several smaller cracks are also forming on the District of Columbia pillar. With Memorial Day being today, the crowds will grow at the monument, and visitors will have to walk past the blemishes on the 15-year-old memorial.
Because this is something we got to preserve. It makes no sense to build this beautiful memorial and just let it go to shambles.
The National Park Service says they've ordered a study to see what's causing the cracks and how to fix them before they grow even larger. The problem is large enough that Congress has been briefed. And you'll see state and U.S. flags at half-staff today. Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon ordered both flags at half-staff on Friday in coordinates with President Donald Trump's proclamation. Flags will be at half-staff until noon today in honor of Memorial Day. And coming up, we'll take a look at your full weather forecast this morning with meteorologist